Welcome to another live stream, my friends. What a crazy day in the markets it has been, my friends. Bitcoin as well as altcoins absolutely dropping off of a cliff. To be fair, we could bounce soon. The bulls need to make a stand right now, in my opinion, or we could just be getting started on this move. Unfortunately, it's not what we want to hear or see, you guys, but it is what it is. The market maker and the market itself does not give a shit about our opinions or feelings. So hopefully you've taken my warnings on these live streams and in my Telegram channel serious lately, as we've been not only surviving, but absolutely thriving in these conditions, you guys. To be completely honest, although it's not bullish price action, it's actually very healthy price action as far as a downtrend goes. Ever since we topped around 116K, we have done nothing but form lower lows, confirming lower highs. There's been no scam wicks, no scam pumps. There's only been lower lows followed by resistance retests where the trend has continued. Those of you being absolutely blindsided by this need to get in my Telegram, you guys. This price action has been very much so predictable just from having a very strong understanding of very basic technical analysis and more specifically understanding trending support. So if that is something that interests you, you want to see more examples of how I look at structure, how I pull fibs, how I view the market in general, do yourselves a favor, scan the QR code, get in there. Like I said, you guys, I was warning about this downtrend for a while now, and more specifically this morning, getting very vocal about a continuation of the downtrend. Pointed out that we were trading at resistance, ended up nailing a short, still have a good chunk of that running. To be honest, I did just start a little bit of a long as well, which I'll get into. But guys, look at this chart here on the weekly. This post that I made in the Telegram channel, absolutely disgusting, you guys. So yeah, basically let's go ahead and look at this. Let's take a look at the 4 hour here. I've been warning about this for quite a while, that the MDX trend master on the 4 hour has been printing lower buy signals and lower sell signals. I'm always very vocal about this strategy, that when we start seeing warnings like this, you notice we had a sell and a higher sell. But when we end up getting that lower sell signal, it's a very strong warning that the trend could be shifting. And I mean, we basically all weekend, we traded right at the resistance of this indicator. And from there, we have been dumping off a cliff. Now, guys, I did just mention I took a little bit of a long. So my reasoning for that is just that same bullish fib pull that I've had from our lows back here, where we had that wick from our liquidation event, and basically looking at this as our swing fail pocket. My invalidation for this is below 98.8 thousand. We got very close, but we are still in there. Got all of my laddered entries. I basically started in the middle of this pocket and laddered down towards 99K. My average entry on that long is currently 99,502 US dollars. Absolutely nailed it if we end up reversing here. To be completely honest, guys, I hope this long gets stopped out. Now, you may be asking why. It is because I am actually still favoring the short side of things. I was taking profits on the way down, but since we are so close to my invalidation level, I'm very okay with taking a bit of a hedge position. So even though I am very bearish on the trend as a whole, I'm not opposed to the idea of some sort of a bounce from this, because I mean, a buy level is a buy level. And at this point, until we end up really breaking below this, I mean, it is what it is. So we're going to have to see. So I still have a little bit of a short. I shouldn't even say a little bit. My short is still heavier than my long, but that's from about 104,352 US dollars from that setup that I just mentioned with resistance earlier this morning. But yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. Like I said, I think the bulls need to basically step in right where they did. Even with this, you guys, it's still nasty structure. It's just that a bounce is possible. But really, when we look at it for what it is, we have this low, we have a lower low. Now, what retail loves to do is get bearish at support, start FOMOing shorts. Right as we lose this level, people are looking for that breakout trade, starting to short into it. And then if we get some sort of a bounce back up towards the top of our range, that's where you're going to see FOMO. That's where you're going to see the bullish posts, and it's going to be right at resistance after setting a lower low, and in theory would just be potentially a bearish retest of resistance, basically. So at this point, since we set this lower low, we do have a confirmed lower high on the macro trend here. So basically the highest point between our low and our lower low. So that would be our high right here. So I'm just going to make, I mean, well, I guess we already have that red line there. But guys, when I was talking about this trend being healthy, obviously, yes, if you're bullish, it's disgusting. But if we're looking at it for what it is and just basic structure, and why I always say on these streams, you guys, that it's so important to have a basic understanding of literally day one technical analysis stuff. Lower lows confirm lower highs, higher highs confirm higher lows, but that's something that very much so gets overlooked. As soon as people start trading, they start overcomplicating things, looking for different confluences and stuff like that, which confluence is fine. But at the end of the day, basic market structure is number one for me. And even though these are microanalyzing levels, having a good understanding of that can go a lot further than basically anything else, in my opinion. Like, to me, this is literally the most important thing you can truly understand when it comes to the game of trading. It's very simple, but it's easy to make mistakes. But basically, on this 4-hour trend, like I said, since we topped around 116.3K, I mean, this is where we lost our higher low on the trend, right? I was talking about this yesterday, that this whole trend here, we never did lose a higher low. This was the higher low that ended up eventually breaking and kicked off our downtrend. Ever since that, we were just setting a lower low. So here would be our next lower low. That means highest point between the two, lower high, lower low. This would have been lower high here, another lower low here, lower high here. From there, this would be our next low. That means this is the highest point between the two. And from there, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And this is basically the structure that I was looking at this morning when I ended up taking that short. So again, guys, I understand that it looks like microanalyzing, but that trend on this 4-hour trend, since we topped around 116K, we have not broke even a micro lower high like that on this downswing. It may look like it with this bounce here. If you don't understand structure all that well, yeah, it looks like we got a nice bounce there, and that leads people to FOMOing in at the top again. But that's why I was calling it resistance all weekend and saying that, once the weekend's over, we're going to see volatility likely pick back up. And that's exactly what we've seen, guys. So again, I cannot stress this enough, that how important very basic market structure is. So this is one of those times where even if we get a nice big aggressive bounce, just understand that, once we get back to the top of the range, respect resistance. At the very least, start thinking about downsizing risk, taking profits if you end up in a long position. Just don't be longing with leverage into resistance like everybody likes to do, right? The same thing that happened up at our all-time highs when I warned and got bearish and actually took shorts at 125.2K. Very much the exact opposite of the long that I just took as a hedge, right? It's a bit of a swing fail, just like up here it was a swing fail. So people love getting FOMO or getting fear, however you want to look at it, at those little fake out zones. So definitely something to be careful with there, you guys. Like I said, with the Trend Master, we still have the lower trending sell signals. So even if we end up getting some sort of a bounce, that's just more resistance on the way to the upside. And that being said, guys, on top of the MDX Trend Master showing us that downtrend with the lower sell signal there, I've been talking about this quite a bit recently, the MDX liquidations indicator. And I was saying that, although yes, we do have liquidity, we have liquidation pockets up at around our all-time highs, but we're also starting to form a ton of liquidity below us on a little bit lower leverage. And we grabbed damn near all of that, right? Yeah, there's a very small amount below us right now, but all the liquidations basically got ate up. So at this point, I'm not opposed to some sort of a bounce. It's just that there has been some very serious structure broken in this chart. Actually, a couple of times at this point. Let me remove some indicators here. Let me remove the liquidations as well, you guys, and just understand that, looking at basic structure for what it is, here we had a high, here we have our higher high. That confirms this as our higher low on the trend. And notice we broke that, right? We ended up getting a lower low here. But notice that since that, we have now set another lower low. This is a very, very serious looking downtrend, you guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, quite literally the bearer of bad news, But it is what it is. That is nasty structure on a macro time frame. We have lost very ugly levels there. We zoom out to the weekly chart, you guys. Like I said, I pointed this out this morning. I pointed it out last night. I pointed it out on yesterday's stream. The fact that we have this upward trend line. This is a 1.5 year long trend line, you guys. It goes all the way back to the start of August 2024. But we have exact touch points here. Very, very accurate trend line. And the fact that that diagonal trend line also lines up with our horizontal support of our weekly range, we lost both of those today. We are getting a double whammy, breaking that structure. On top of that, the last 3 weeks or so, I've been warning that we lost this order block, this red box that I have here. We ended up losing that, breaking below. And for 3 weeks, 3 full weeks, we respected that old support as new resistance. That's huge. That is a huge change in structure there, or a break of an important level, turning an order block into a breaker block. And to line that up with pushing us through both of these support lines, I hate to say it, you guys, this trend looks absolutely cooked. Again, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but she looks bad. Even if we get some sort of a bounce, we could bounce quite a ways. We could bounce all the way up towards 110K. You know, we could get a retest. If we end up flipping that support into resistance, I'm sorry, guys. Good night, Bitcoin. That is nasty, nasty looking structure there. So sorry to be that guy, but it is what it is. The Ethereum chart, you guys, same thing. I've been warning that we had lower trending buy and sell signals on the 4-hour. Solana, I was warning that we had lower trending sell signals. Hype, I was warning we had lower trending sell signals. The MDX Trendmaster was calling for this on all these different charts, all these altcoins, Bitcoin, all of it, right? Even something like Solana, I mentioned yesterday that I still think that it's very possible we end up coming back down and testing support. Now, I'm not saying I'm bullish on these levels. I'm not interested in longing altcoins right now quite yet. My hedge with Bitcoin, I'm comfortable with that. That's good enough for me for long exposure at this point. But I was very much open to the idea of coming back lower. So if nothing else, just warning that, hey, maybe don't be FOMOing into long positions, because I still thought that we were going to end up dropping lower, and we absolutely did. I know somebody was mentioning in the stream yesterday, I haven't seen you in the comments yet today, but you had mentioned that you had taken a short position on Hype on something like this sort of a fib pull. Let me just get rid of the Trendmaster, but basically looking at this type of market structure, right? And I love to see that, you guys, people in the Telegram, absolutely, you know, learning basic structure like that, just getting a good understanding and being able to fight FOMO like that by just looking at structure for what it is. If you're in here, congrats, bro. You absolutely nailed that, right? Like I said, I never took that trade, but that was exactly it. As soon as you mentioned that you took a short from that level, I knew exactly what you were looking at. So I love to see that those teachings just, you know, showing how I look at the charts and how I view these trade strategies. I'm glad that they're paying off. Some people are absolutely crushing it, you guys. I had a few real good testimonies of some of you guys are here with me right now. So thank you for that. Lots of good testimonies for the Telegram channel, you guys. So again, if that is something that interests you and you want to see more examples, how I'm pulling fibs, how I'm looking at indicators, just market structures, and just my thoughts on the market in general, you guys, do yourselves a favor, get in there. Let me know in the chat how you're all doing. I hope you guys are just killing it out there. This downtrend has been absolutely beautiful, as long as you are looking at structure for what it is, right? I understand that if you have FOMO and if you're listening to the bigger influencer accounts that say, hey, we're going up every single day, they say the same thing over and over and over, getting their followers wrecked and wrecked and wrecked. Just understand there's a big difference between influencers and traders, you guys. And you know, as traders here, we've been absolutely crushing this downtrend, and it's literally on the most basic type of technical analysis, but having a very strong understanding of it. So it goes a long ways. It goes a lot further than, you know, trying to analyze tweets and announcements and rate cuts and tariffs and all that sort of stuff, you guys. I mean, I didn't have a clue that we were going to get tariff announcements up here, yet I was short 2 days in advance. I had no idea. I still have no idea what's all been happening today, what's being blamed for the dump. But you guys know that just based on structure, we were totally waiting for that. Just like if we bounce now, I don't care what the fundamentals say. I don't care what the reasoning is going to be, because reasoning is Captain Hindsight. Reasoning is used for coping why someone ended up getting wrecked. It doesn't matter why a move happened. And that's the thing. Fundamentals always come back to, they explain why something happened, but how do you trade that? That's where charts give us that inside edge, that just that edge that we can see things ahead of time, right? Because of basic structure and pullbacks. So I hope you guys, especially those of you who have been tuning into these live streams pretty much daily, those of you guys in the Telegram channel, you should have got many warnings from me over the last several weeks about these potential downside moves. Now, I would be very happy to have these things invalidated. I would love to go to all-time highs. If that happens, I will be a moon boy with everyone else. I would love to go parabolic. I love trading parabolic runs. They're easy, they're fun, they're profitable. You literally don't have to do anything and you can make money. But the market does not care about our feelings, and I am going to trade the chart based on what is here in the charts rather than what I feel like I want to see in a few weeks from now, right? I'm going to trade the charts for what they are, not what I hope they become. So those of you guys who do appreciate these live streams, you appreciate, getting a look at some of my favorite trade strategies, just keeping a level head in this market, trying to avoid FOMO when you keep reading certain things and that sort of thing. If you guys do appreciate me being the voice of reason in this market, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already. But I feel like those of you who have been tuned into these streams recently are hopefully subscribed already, because I mean, we've been absolutely crushing this trend. I shouldn't even say this trend specifically. All these major moves recently, I mean, guys, we were long down here, we were short up here, shorted here again, shorting today, even on the smaller time frames, just absolutely crushing these major moves, you guys. So if you do appreciate that, again, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Let me just catch up on the chat a little bit. Okay, the retail long short, that is something I have not looked at with you guys on this stream yet. I did get it ready for before the start of the stream. Guys, this is another thing that I was warning. If we saw retail longs start climbing as we trade into resistance, we are going to see a nasty dump, because that will be fuel for the fire. Lo and behold, we had this structure here. We had the low, lower low, lower high on the, there's actually some microstructure in there that was broke on the 1 hour, but the 4 hour, it held true. And as we ended up trading into this resistance, we got that retest of the 786 here, and notice that retail longs started climbing. We see retail, literally, this indicator literally shows us retail FOMOing at all the wrong times, right? And we see them start FOMOing long into resistance, and then that just pushes us off a cliff, dumps a bunch of gasoline right on that fire. So unfortunately, it is what it is. 70K, says Adrian. I would love to see it. Well, my shorts would love to see it. The portfolio, as far as my spot bags, they wouldn't like to see it. But as a trader goes, as long as it's volatile, I am here for it. I don't care if we're going up or we're going down. I treat my trading very different than my investments. And as long as it stays volatile, I absolutely love this kind of price action. It has been such a juicy day, you guys. Reshort at 111, where would, yeah, that would be, getting way back up to the top here. Yeah, absolutely possible, right? Let's actually look. I want to bring up the Trendmaster one more time, because I think, with this sell signal here, that means that I would, basically the same as how I was looking at structure, right? That would have been our lower high on the trend. And if we pull a fib somewhere from there down to where we have bottomed so far, we start to look at resistance. If we end up hitting the 786, that's kind of starting at around 112.5K. Even if we call it 112, And obviously, there's the potential that we end up facing resistance here at around 111K. So, yeah, we absolutely have structure there. It's just that our fibs are a little bit higher. That would basically need to pump above 119K to even consider breaking this current immediate downtrend on the 4 hour, just since we set that lower low there. So, yeah, the Bulls have a lot of work to do. Love to see that this hedge long so far playing out. Like I said, honestly, I would rather have it get stopped out and have the shorts continue running. But if the rest of my short gets stopped at break even and this long takes off, at least I'm covered, right? So that's why I took that bit of a hedge. A buy level is a buy level. It looks very risky. It was looking very weak. However, that being said, I don't consider it risky because my invalidation is so tight on that kind of a stop on that kind of a setup, is that, you know what, if I get stopped out from here and if people want to laugh and say, haha, you got stopped out. Yeah, well, at least I wasn't longing up at resistance. Right. So I would, like I said, I would love to get stopped out of that long and see my shorts continue running. But so far, at least the Bulls are stepping in, giving us some sort of signs of life where I would like to see them show signs of life, basically. My dog got liquidated. Everyone got liquidated. Crypto Jacker, yo, bro. Yeah, up, down, up. Exactly. Tons of volatility. That's the thing. It's very clean price action, but it is very volatile. The ranges are very large. You need a strong stomach to stomach this kind of volatility, and you need a good understanding of basic market structure because, yeah, obviously, especially trading with leverage. I mean, it's so volatile. Always, if you're ever entering a position in these kinds of conditions, I mean, you always should, but make sure you know how far away your invalidation is and how big of a loss you're going to take if it happens. Because these moves, when you zoom into, let's say, a 5 minute or a 1 minute or even a 15 minute or an hourly, these moves are a lot bigger than they look. And it's easy to get yourself into trouble if you're using high leverage or not having proper invalidation levels and that sort of stuff. So be careful out there. A 14-month trend line broke is not structure. If you are talking about this one not being structure, I mean, I consider it structure. Well, at least, if at the very least, losing the horizontal level is structure, and losing the order block, I consider that some sort of structure. How's everyone? I hope you're all doing fantastic, guys. I understand that this type of price action, especially if this is your first cycle in crypto, those of us who have been through a couple of cycles understand that this move so far, I know it seems like the end of the world, but I hate to say it, you guys. If I am correct about this nasty downtrend starting, I think we have just seen the beginning of it. A lot of people think that just because they got wrecked, that needs to be near the end of the move. But when we really look at what kind of a trend line this is, where our liquidation band indicator is, there's where we like to bottom after we hit our 152-week cycle. So not only are we losing important structure on the weekly, but right on schedule for a typical 4-year cycle. Typically speaking, after we end up going to the upside for that long and losing major structure, we end up coming back and testing this band indicator. And unfortunately, guys, that although it is climbing, it's currently below $40,000. I am not saying we're going down to 40,000, but just understand that this move that we've seen so far is nothing on the grand scheme of things. So as long as you're using proper risk management, you're not going crazy with high leverage and stuff like that, you're having proper invalidations, proper entries, proper take profit levels, you should be fine. But again, guys, as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing you can do for yourself is really get a strong understanding of basic higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, and having the discipline to wait for pullbacks and be willing to miss some opportunities so that you avoid FOMOing in at the wrong times, basically, right? Nunu saying that you still can't access the Telegram. I think I saw that you had entered the Discord. Open up a support ticket in there. I know my producer on the back end was trying to get a hold of you and has been unable to. So if you are in the Discord, you should be able to open up a support ticket and we can get you sorted out there. Next level going down 95K. Honestly, I don't at this point, if we go any lower, oh boy. I mean, I hate to say it, but basically if we lose this kind of support that we're at right now, maybe even a little bit lower, if we start losing that 98K level, yeah, unfortunately, I'm kind of looking at closer to 80,000, and lower is obviously possible. Like, the thing is, we need to break the downtrend. That's all there is to it. I don't know where this downtrend is going to end. I'm taking profits on my shorts along the way, obviously, but basically until we end up breaking some sort of a 4-hour lower high, I just have no faith in the bulls until that happens. And after that happens, yeah, it'll look like I missed the bottom. I mean, unless we bottomed here. But typically speaking, if we break structure and it looks like I missed the bottom, generally speaking, you get some sort of a pullback and a retest anyways. So I really have no FOMO as far as thinking that we need to go parabolic and all these sorts of things. Like, just understand that nothing needs to happen and our gut feeling can be very wrong. Always have a plan B and just trade the charts for what they are. Trade charts, not tweets. And yeah, look at market structure for what it is. And guys, I can't stress this enough as well. Use the replay feature on Tradingview. Do a bunch of back testing. Go into chart setups, knowing that, basically understanding what your probabilities are, and have proper entry levels, take profit levels, invalidation levels, have your set of rules written out, go back, test literally years of charts of your set of rules. And that way you have kind of a big variety of all sorts of market conditions and you know what your probabilities are. So at that point, it's a lot easier to keep a level head rather than guessing. It keeps it so much easier if you have an actual trade setup that you can repeat time and time again. And it doesn't matter what's happening in the fundamentals, because any back testing I've done, you guys, I have never gone back into social media or news headlines and found out, hey, when this chart or when this strategy was happening 2.5 years ago, here's a setup. Oh yeah, it played out, but hey, fundamentals were different. I've never gone back and looked at what the fundamentals are doing when those chart patterns are happening. So as far as back testing goes, I'm just looking at the charts. I trade charts. I don't care about fundamentals. I'm not saying fundamentals don't matter. They obviously help push the price in certain directions, but trying to trade them is incredibly difficult. And if you think that you are going to have an edge by understanding the entire global economy and how it's going to react to every announcement and every fundamental out there, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's a lot easier to understand a few colorful lines and a few structure points. If you can't analyze that properly, you are going to have a hell of a time understanding the entire global economy. That's all there is to it. That being said, let's see here, man. I've been in crypto since July 2017, and I've seen some nasty BTC dumps, and Stu is right. You new guys ain't seen nothing yet. Hope y'all got a strong stomach. Exactly. I'm seeing so many, so many people's mental well-being just being absolutely destroyed. And guys, that terrifies me because, yeah, altcoins are getting absolutely smashed time and time again. But Bitcoin, really, at the end of the day, it has barely done anything yet. That's such a small move. And yeah, those of us who have been around for, multiple years or multiple cycles, we know what could happen. And when that happens to you, that's where you start to take risk management much more serious. So anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. I just thought that, I really got to get some sort of a stream out here because I know there's full panic in the markets, but hopefully those of you guys who have been following along in these live streams, and especially those of you in the Telegram getting my constant warnings about this type of price action, I hope you are all absolutely crushing it, my friends. So if that is something that interests you, you want to see more examples of how I pull fibs, how I look at market structure, some of my trade setup ideas and all that sort of stuff, you guys do yourselves a favor, scan that QR code, get in the Telegram. And with that, Thank you so much for being here with me once again, my friends. Please do me a favor one more time, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have appreciated this stream and previous streams and getting my inside knowledge and my level-headed approach and trying to be the voice of reason in this market. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends.